After the AF modes and areas, we'll now talk about the external flash and how to use it for macros. Firstly, check and set your flash sync speed to make sure you never exceed the shutter speed on the camera beyond the limit specified here. You will start getting a black screen on the bottom of the frame if you exceed the sync speed. Second, check the flash mode on the camera. If it is set to red eye, then make sure you change it to a normal mode. Most flashes support the red eye double flash, and that can totally ruin a wildlife shot. Also keep in mind that not all camera bodies have a pop-up flash before we proceed further. Now let's take a brief look at the modes a flash would generally offer. You would have an auto or TTL mode, which works exactly like a pop-up flash, and you can control the flash via the camera. There are master and slave modes, which allow controlling either a single or a multi-flash setup. Finally, there is a manual mode, and this is the only mode we are interested in here for macros. Since we use a flash cord to connect the camera and the flash, we only need to set the flash to manual mode along with the zoom and power we want. In the wild, one would generally not get a chance to fiddle with the power and zoom of the flash, and we will see how to get around that. Recall the inverse square law for light fall off that we discussed earlier? Yes, that is how we control the power of the flash in the wild. Simply changing the distance of the flash to the subject will increase or decrease the power of the light that falls on the subject. Moving the flash away just about a few inches from the subject will probably half the power depending on the power you've already set it to. In general, you would never need to change the power once we are set for that, depending on the guide number of the flash and the capability of your camera sensor, and of course the aperture you are shooting at. You can just increase or decrease the power of the flash by changing the distance of the flash from the subject. This is one of the places where you will have to experiment and find out for your own setup based on the aperture you use. I will of course get into what I use in a later video. For now, let us look at the zoom and power aspects of the flash and how they impact our macro shots. First, the zoom. The zoom on the flash tries to match the zoom or focal length of the lens to cover the field of view for that focal length. A 50 mm zoom would cover a wider area than a zoom for 90 mm. In the auto or TTL mode, the flash would automatically set the zoom to match the focal length of the lens on the camera. So where would we need to change the zoom to be more or less than the actual field of view required for the focal length the lens is set to? Recall the example in an earlier video when I had used a zoom of 50 on the flash instead of the 90 mm focal length of my lens. This was to spread the light out a bit more so we could see more of the surface and the reflections the object created on the surface. The other case would be where you are lucky enough to get a subject in a clear area and want more of the natural background to blend into the frame rather than holding the flash on top of the subject for a dark background. In these cases, you would simply point the flash directly at the subject, going beyond and behind the subject, but do not want intense light on the subject itself, and therefore you can reduce the zoom to spread the light out a bit more than required for the field of view. Now let us look at the flash power. Almost all flashes will shoot at the full power based on their guide number down to around 1/28 of the full power. This would generally be increments or decrements of 1/3, but it can differ for different flash units. In general, for macros, we will never use the full power mode. A higher power for the flash implies a longer duration of the flash and vice versa for low power. Understanding this part is critical for macros. Using a low power not only allows the flash to recharge faster, which is generally under a second, but more importantly, since the duration of the flash in low power modes is so short, it helps in freezing the subject motion and eliminating any shake that we might get when shooting at 1:1 or higher magnifications. For example, the flash duration range on my Godox flash goes from a 300th of a second to 20,000th of a second. Just imagine the speed of the low power flash. This is also the reason why the shutter speed cannot be used to control the flash. Only the aperture can be used to cut light from the flash. Therefore, my recommendation would be to use the lowest power flash that allows you to shoot around the base ISO of your camera to get the best possible details in your macro shots. Now that we've covered the flash part, let us look at a couple of examples where you would actually require a flash, and these shots you would not get without the flash. And these are shots where you would probably use a wider zoom angle to get more of the background. And finally, in these two shots, you would use a low power and a wider zoom to cut out any extraneous reflections. Remember, if you want to decrease the power of the flash, just move it away from the subject.